Testing. Zone 2, the training zone everyone's talking about, but almost nobody actually hits. Some say it's magic, others say it's hype. But here's the truth. Zone 2 isn't supposed to be exciting. All right, before we jump in, there's so much noise out there about Zone 2. Different podcasts, different YouTubers, different coaches, and everyone's selling a different thought process or magic formula. My goal here isn't to add to that noise. I'd like to cut through it. You know, as a coach, it's a time crunch to want to be a professional amateur athlete myself and give you something you can actually understand, apply, and trust in your own training. So today, we're breaking down Zone 2 to what actually matters. Not the hype, just the stuff that works. All right, if you've ever been confused about Zone 2, what it is, how to find it, how much to do, or why it feels too easy or pointless, this video is for you. Because depending on who you listen to, whether it's Dr. Steven Seiler, Dylan Johnson, Bonk Bros, Bonk Braves, Rogan podcast, the Real Science of Sport podcast, or hopefully not Peter Attia and Andrew Huberman between their mushroom drinks and AG1 ads, Zone 2 gets framed as everything from the Holy Grail to wildly overrated. Today, we're grounding it in reality, the physiology, the practical application, and what it actually looks like in training. All right, so my Zone 2 struggles actually started long before my cycling training and racing. Back when I ran track and cross country, and then at a pretty elite level afterwards, I never went easy on my easy days. If the run was fast, if the run wasn't fast, it felt like a waste. Then I moved to Flagstaff, Arizona, one of the endurance capitals and meccas of the world. Really to just train, run, compete. And as there, I was able to train with athletes way beyond my level. Olympians, national champions, guys running 1 to 120 miles a week. And their easy days, stupid slow. Embarrassingly, jogging pace slow. And then one of the best at the time, Nick Arciniaga, good friend, they told me, if you can't go easy, you'll never be able to go hard enough. And that stuck with me till today. And I carried that same mistake into cycling. Even as a coach, even after racing at a pretty high level, even after spending thousands of dollars studying this stuff and how to do it correctly, I still drifted too high and too hard on my easy days. But finally, as I got more reps, as I got older, as I dived deeper and reflected on the trends, and when everybody, Seiler, Dylan, the Roadman, all the pros, smart people, and what they were saying, I finally listened and started to understand why and how to dial in that intensity distribution. And that's when things finally started to click. Zone 2 isn't magic, but the physiology behind it is extremely clear. It's training right around your first lactate turn point, or LT1, or your aerobic threshold, VT1, the point where your body produces and clears lactate at the same rate. This is where the confusion begins. Depending on the model you use, Zone 2 lands in different places, but physiologically it doesn't care about your chart. LT1 and VT1 are the real anchors. All right, and if Zone 2 alone could make you world class, we'd all be world class. Or at least, we'd all be wannabe professionals with a YouTube channel. When you train here, you improve mitochondrial density, fat oxidation, stroke volume, capillarization, all the boring but powerful stuff that raises your aerobic floor. All right, and please, do not judge Zone 2 by how it makes you feel after a workout. You know, it's like going to Old Country Buffet, eating until you're sick, and saying, yeah, that was a high quality meal. I got good nutrients and feeling in. We need to separate the feeling of a workout from the benefits and the quality of it. Now,
Most people miss zone 2 because they're guessing or using the wrong tool for the job. Here's the hierarchy from most accurate to most approximate. So lactate and ventilatory testing, by far the gold standard. Most precision, but obviously least accessible.
In a lot of these zones, there's a window, there's some wiggle room. But for instance, heart rate, good measure, but variable. Sleep, heat, caffeine, autonomic nervous system fatigue, they all indirectly affect it day to day. Easy way, potentially use some cardiac drift, heart rate decoupling to measure it. Watch it if you're gonna go that route. I've been using the TimeWear Vital Pro strap. And honestly, it's the closest thing we have to a real-time reflection of lactate accumulation. You know, when my breathing pattern changes, that's the moment I know I've shifted zones and I've shifted fuel sources. Power, you know, convenient. Again, indirect, a very consistent external measure of what we're doing. But again, every day, our load capacity and our physiological abilities change. Power again falls 55 to 75 depending upon which paper you read. And really, nailing that power zone for zone 2 depends on the accuracy of how you're measuring your upper level to break it down. So there's a lot of wiggle room, and power might not be the most consistent and reliable. All right, RPE, simple, easy, accounts for both internal and external perception. Should always be involved, whether it's a zone 2 or VO2 max efforts, in triangulating the intensity of the workout.
All right, so how much zone 2 should you do?
All right, so I'm not saying everyone needs to build a massive zone 2 base. That's all you do for 2 months. But almost everyone, time crunch or not, would benefit from having some structured, disciplined, low intensity zone 2 in both their macro cycle and within the microcycles of their training.
Okay, again, I didn't say zone 2 would be fun, exciting, and interesting. I find it just as boring as the next person. But here are some of the workouts I use for myself and my athletes to give it a little bit of flavor per se. Obviously, there's the standard steady state zone 2, hit it, stay there, pretty classic. One of the ones I also like is alternating chunks from the high and low end of zone 2. So we're getting the low end, we're getting the high end, it gives it a little bit of fluctuation. The other one I like is in zone 2 pyramid, up and down. So starting low end, building into the medium and high, and then coming back down. Another one that I've started to try for a little bit of neuromuscular help too is high intensity cadence intervals. So high cadence, 110, 120 for me for about a minute, 4 minutes back to just steady state. The intensity during the high cadence should stay roughly about the same power. We're just spinning more. One of the new ones coming out would be some micro intervals. Some new research in the last year has shown, you know, whether it's 5 seconds of roughly VO2 power and 10 or 15 seconds off, on and off, fluctuating in those micro intervals, can basically give us the same amount of physiological changes just as steady state zone 2 work, and it can make it a lot less monotonous.
All right, this time of year, zone 2 can be brutal. Long trainer hours, cold outdoor rides, just a lot of monotony. I mean, I'm on a 2-hour zone 2 ride right now, trying not to get bored. But like Steve Bechtel says, endurance is boring to train and get, but it sure is fun having.
This is the quiet work that pays off months from now.
All right, I've been working hard to tighten up my intensity distribution, keeping the easy days truly easy and the hard days actually meaningful. Now, whether you're using ventilation like I do right now, RPE, heart rate, power, you really just need to find something that is not guessing and as specific and consistent and reliable as can be for what you have. Zone 2 isn't sexy. It isn't exciting. It's not supposed to be. But if you stay patient, disciplined, and actually stay in zone 2, it's gonna pay off and pay the bills later in the year. And look, this isn't a magic bullet. It's not the unicorn in the exercise training world, nor is it a one-size-fits-all answer. And zone 2 shouldn't be the only thing in your training block. Like everything, it depends. The right amount, at the right time, for the right person, with the right goals. A strong zone 2 can be incredibly valuable when it's applied intentionally. When in doubt, be consistent above all else, and then be specific. Not because of the noise out there, but because of your own needs as an athlete. All right, drop your questions below, subscribe, smash the like button, combat me, I don't care. Thanks for being here, and as always, train like it matters.